We had our first scrimmage last night. It was really good. It was the first time really our 11 guys were out there together because we were missing so many guys in the spring. The first half was pretty basic with what they did defensively, so we could really evaluate our guys. I thought that was really good. With that, the second half, it was everybody played football, but from a big picture standpoint, it was good for us from an evaluation standpoint, to see what guys could do, who's ready, who's not, who needs work, just really putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I mean, what are we, 23, 24 days away? I mean, the urgency of putting everything together because of the way things went in the spring is really high. So these next 6 practices are going to be very, very important before we really start turning the page for Alabama with that. Questions?
Start with Ryan in the back.
How close are you to playing with the speed that you want to be out on a game day?
That was the first scrimmage we had with all 11 guys. I mean, we're still a work in progress. I like our guys' attitude. It takes time to just get the understanding. I think we have improved each time we've been out through these first 6 days.
Malzahn.
I know Coach Norvell said you guys haven't been able to get into dope over spring because of the construction and the weather yesterday. But what is the plan, I guess, game day, booth, field, how that's going to kind of work out?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on the field my whole life, and that's where I'm most comfortable with, and I'll be on the field.
What assistants will be in the booth?
We're still working through that. I'll probably be able to tell you more after this second scrimmage.
Brendan.
Given some of the limitations you mentioned in the spring with the offensive line specifically to have the starters collectively for 6 practices now, how has that been, and what have you seen from that?
Yeah, first of all, it takes time from an offensive line to gel. The communication, everything, the 5 guys we had out there first, they do have a lot of experience, which I think is really good. But working together, seeing the different looks, the communication, the ID, the double team technique, and everything that goes with that, because a lot of guys came from different programs and they were coached different ways, and just making sure that everything's cleaned up. It's about the details, it's about execution. It's not about always the plays, it's about the execution part, and that's what I'm focused on.
Liam.
We heard a lot about the running backs last night and just kind of the competitiveness in that room. What have you seen and how have you evaluated those guys?
Yeah, I mean, that was really, when they played fairly base in that first half, that was really the first time you could really see the things you need to see, to try to get guys to separate. Because like I said, we got to make quick decisions. The scrimmages are so critical to the evaluation piece, and we've got an idea now, but obviously we'll have a second scrimmage, and after that, everything offensively will be about put in place.
Chris.
How has Tommy done with handling everything you're trying to put on his plate and understanding?
Yeah, I mean, he's already familiar with the big picture stuff we did, obviously, being with me a couple of years ago. I think the challenge, our defense presents so many challenges. It's there's some unconventional things with the things that we do, which makes it really tough on offenses with ID and things. And so, when you're installing, sometimes, you've got to take that into account with everything. But, he's done a really, really good job up to this point.
Ira.
You obviously, before a lot of these transfers came in, even the returning players, you saw them on film, and then you had them in workouts, you had spring ball, but seeing them in like a scrimmage situation,
Yeah.
real competition, does that enlighten you? in
Oh,
any way?
100%. I mean, we're going to have 11 new starters, and it's all about fall camp, getting everything ready for one of the better defenses in college football. So, but it was really good to get out there and see them in action. Coaches on the sideline, they're playing the game. How do they react to adversity? How do they react to success, and everything that goes with that, and playing fast and all of the above.
Brendan.
When we spoke to Mike last night, he was really complimentary of a specific rep that Usman Kroma had in pass pro. And so just his development physically, mentally to do those little things well so early in his career. What have you seen from him in those regards?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, first of all, his skill set is extremely high. He's very talented. He was one of the more impressive reps from an individual in the scrimmage last night. We've had freshmen that were able to be successful in our offense. I feel like he's definitely going to be a part of that, and we'll bring him along at the pace that we need to.
Nick.
We've heard a lot about the wide receivers over the first week or so of practice. Seems like last night there was some effectiveness in chugging plays. Deuce over the top. Mekhi Dancy had a 20-yard spurt. I don't know if that was swing or down the field, but just comment a little bit on how impressive
Yeah,
they've been.
you know, anytime you get in a scrimmage, I mean, you want to push the ball down the field too. I mean, obviously our base fundamental to run play action, but we wanted to push it down the field. We made some plays down the field, and a couple of them we were close and all that. But we're still learning about our receiver group, and who's ready to play and who needs more work.
Aswan?
You mentioned how valuable it was to get your 11 out there for the first time because you didn't have that in spring. Do you have a pretty good idea of who you're going to rely on for your starting 11, or is that just the...
No, I mean, we have a good idea who we feel like after last night, these guys are ready to play. We do have a group of individuals, more than 11, that we feel like they're ready to play. The key is the next 3 or 4 practices before our next scrimmage. We leave that next scrimmage and we have more guys that are ready to play. So, that's really our plan with that.
Ira?
The FSU put out a little video of Deuce's catch down the field. Not just getting open, but the way he fought through the contact, and it looked like Jerry had his hand in there. I mean, have you seen that consistently? Is he that kind of guy that can make those contested catches?
Yeah, he did it last spring too. He's one of those 50-50 guys that really are probably more like 70-30 since he's been here, which is always good. We just need more of the guys to come along, with him.
Aswan?
Coach Norvell mentioned that Cromwell had a really nice pickup in blitz protection. You probably know how he can run the ball. I mean, how good is it that those details are kind of coming along at a fast pace?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, he's got a really high skill set. You can tell that through the first 6 practices.
Corey?
Javon Boggs has gotten a lot of attention since he's been here. How has he adjusted to the first week of his first fall freshman camp? Did he do anything good or special?
Yeah, well, first of all, spring, he left spring and really, for a true freshman, was really impressive. And he's picked that up since he's been in fall camp. And, he's a guy that, is playing at a high level for a true freshman.
Brendan?
I was gonna ask about Boggs, but you talked about Boggs and Deuce, wide receiving core in general. What are your thoughts on the group and how many guys you think you can legitimately rely on this season?
Yeah, we need more guys to come along. We don't have a lot of experience. I mean, if you really look at the group as far as just starting experience and playing experience, not a lot. So, we still need to bring guys along so we have more numbers and more depth that are guys that are ready to play.
Ira?
Talk about the approach the defense, the looks the defense gave you early and then later. How much of that is predetermined by the staffs about what looks you want to see?
Yeah, there's certain things in practice, in fairness to both sides, we're both installing our stuff. That's the number one thing. There's certain things in practice, certain times that, we will be a little more basic on both sides to try to help each other with evaluation. But I think the challenge is putting in the offense and defense together with 2 new coordinators, and then offensively just, everything that went through spring, playing a little bit of catch up right there. But there is times we help each other, which, really goes a long way, I think, with both sides.
Liam?
With Rob being out last night, getting Kevin some more reps, I know you've been complimentary on him since coming in, but what did you see with that live action?
Yeah, Kevin can't get enough reps. I mean, he has been very impressive in the big pictures as he's been here in the spring and fall. He can't get enough reps. I mean, he is extremely talented. He's got a lot of special skill sets, but there's nothing like getting out there and experiencing the thing. And the thing I've liked so far is if you correct him on something, he usually doesn't make the same mistake the second time. He's very conscientious. It's very, very important to him. And that's really what stood out to me so far.
Bob?
Coach Randy Pittman always has familiarity with your offense. How much of an edge is that now? And then also his versatility as far as where he can line up and what he can do for you.
Well, he's very flexible. He's half a tight end, half a receiver. He's an old school football player. He knows the offense almost as good as I do. I think that's a good thing, in the big picture. And he can also, help some other guys.
We'll do 2 more. Corey?
Obviously, scheme matters, play calls matter. How much does just physicality and mindset matter when it comes to your offense? And are you seeing it come along to this?
Yeah, we're a downhill hit you in the mouth, run it downhill, play action team, try to throw it deep, play fast. I mean, that's at our core. You know, I think, you know, the answer to that question is, it kind of goes back to, that's the first time we had the 11 guys together. And so the urgency and the everything that goes with it, but the physicality is who we are at our core, and we're still developing that. We're still working on it. You can see each day getting better with that.
Aslan, last one.
Was there a position group or any kind of players that have kind of redefined your expectations from what you had in spring to what you see them do now?
You know, I don't think there's any individual that can say that. I think it's just, you know, getting everybody together and then taking it day by day in the fall. That's really what I've been focused on.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.